Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and just going to recap some information for a lady who's interested in looking at what's causing performance in their snowplow operation in Area 9 of the province of BC. I'm just going to give you an overview of the. In order to remove snow off the highway system, you have to have three things involved. First off, you have to have the right amount of equipment, and you have to have the right amount of manpower. Now, the right amount of manpower changes from summer to winter. So in your winter months, from October to the end of March, you have to have enough crew to operate the equipment in those areas. And you need some really good scheduling. So that means to say you have to schedule the equipment and you have to schedule the manpower involved. Now, if you don't do that, if you don't make enough plow passes, when you're removing snow from the highway, it's done by plow passes. And plow passes is the amount of times that a plow goes past an area. In most cases, the front plow will operate pretty efficiently up to 50 kilometers an hour, but slower in areas where there's traffic. And the underbody plow usually running about 70 kilometers. So you can very easily divide that into how many miles you got and how many kilometers you got and find out what the truck requirement is. But there's some variations. Some areas have heavier snow than others, but if you're getting compact snow on the road surface, it's directly related to the amount of plow passes. Now, whether the passes are provided by a grader or whether they're done by a plow, the plow is the quickest method of doing it because the grader runs slower. Now, when you get compact ice on the roadway, if you're not doing the amount of plow passes required, compact snow comes on the highway because the snow is falling down and it's driven over by the wheels of cars and trucks, and it's compacted and it compacts into an ice area. So sometimes you get compact, it will be 1 or 2 inches or more thick on the road. And that's because we haven't had enough plow passes through that area. So if you get compact buildup on the highway, there's only 2 ways you're going to get it off. Or 3 actually, because Mother Nature will take it off in the spring. But during the winter shifts, it takes a grader with really sharp ice blades to go along and peel that stuff off. And that's slow and painful. But it's efficient. It works good, but slow. It's expensive too. The snowplow truck is cheaper. By just having a high-speed one-way plow or underbody plow is quicker and cheaper. So if you don't plow the snow and have enough frequent passes during the snowstorms, you get compact ice building up on the highway. Now there's other way that you can remove that stuff, and it's by melting it and put chemical on there, and the chemical will actually thaw it down and turn it into water eventually. It's a process that it creates a springtime, almost a summer atmosphere where the heat from the chemical will melt the snow or the ice. The disadvantage is that if you don't put that chemical on uniformly, what will happen, you'll get portions of ice where the chemical melts it out, and if it's not put on uniformly, you'll get a piece of compact ice stuck to the road because the chemical wasn't put uniformly across. You'll go along, then the road will be smooth in one place, and all of a sudden there'll be a big gob of ice 3 inches deep frozen to the highway. And the danger behind that is if you come down there with a front plow later on, because you realize you got to plow the road, and that front plow catches that gob of ice that's stuck to the road, the snowplow truck will slide right across the oncoming lane because of the shape of the plow, and you'll wind up into a major accident, probably involving death. So in order to maintain the road properly, you do plow passes as required for the area. Frequently, more passes the better. And the plow, 2 or 3 inches of snow, a front plow lifts that off easily. So the high-speed plow is the best one for that, or the underbody plow. The plow will take a couple of inches as well, but the high-speed plow throws it right off the road. So if you're getting compact ice built up on your highway, It's caused by one of three things. You don't have enough snowplow passes. Now, if you have enough equipment and you're not getting enough plow passes, it's because you don't have enough drivers. You don't have the right amount of drivers scheduled during the winter operation to run the plows, because the plow should be run in 3 shifts. October the 1st to the end of March, you should have 3 shifts of operation. And that means that you don't want a bunch of gaps between the shifts, because if you do, you're going to get more compact ice driven over, and the ice will form on the highway and get thicker and thicker and thicker. So you first off have to have the right amount of equipment, you have to have the right amount of manpower, and you have to have scheduling. So somebody schedules and say, okay, we're going to have this many trucks and they're going to make this many passes, and you make sure your manpower is staffed up for that. It's much like shoveling your driveway, but you have to have the right amount of equipment, and you have to have the right amount of manpower and the right amount of scheduling involved. Now, if you don't remove the stuff from the highway, it becomes ice, very difficult to remove. Now, the other one that we're seeing here in the Kootenays, that there's a lot of liquid de-icer being used, and what happens with liquid de-icer is if you melt the snow on the surface, it melts off and then becomes water. And it's a chemical product, and it'll melt the ice down. But what happens when you're getting the visual thing as you're driving along, you'll be driving along the highway, and you'll find that the road is wet. And when you get an oncoming car coming towards you, you'll see the glare of the headlights off the wetness. Now, if the temperature is warm, not a problem. You just have to be aware that it's a wet road surface. But when the temperature drops and it freezes, if you're getting the glare off the pavement and it's off the frozen ice, you've got a problem. That means your road is glare ice. And if you see that condition, it means you really got to slow down, because it's glare ice. And if you try to stop quickly, you're not going to be able to do it. You can put your brakes on, you're going to slide right into the oncoming traffic, or maybe slide off the road. So the experience with glare ice is, if the road is wet and you're driving in a lower elevation, you might find the temperature is warming up and the road is just wet. But as you go up an elevation up a hill, you have partway up the hill, you might find out that all of a sudden your wheels are spinning and it's glare ice, and you lose control of your vehicle. That's why it's really important, if they use de-icing chemicals, if you get some guy putting de-icing chemicals on the road in the afternoon shift and it's warm, and you've got no scheduled shift in the afternoon, and the temperature drops, and then the chemical then freezes, now you got the longest skating rink in the bloody country. So that's what's happening in a lot of BC, and we're having major accidents and death. But nobody out there understands what's happening. We're creating a bad situation. And you have to have sand. You cannot replace proper snow plowing. And you cannot replace the sand by melting the snow material, because when you do melt it, it's fine as long as it's liquid, and you can drive through it and it's slushy and it's liquid like water. But God help you when the temperature drops down and it's freezing involved, because it becomes glare ice, and it's glare ice from end to end. And I'm a member of the ICBC Advisory Board, and I've been telling them, hey, you've got to stop these guys from doing that. And the thing I don't like about it is the fact that the cost of accidents is driving our insurance up. It's all being done by the on-site improper procedures. If you don't do the proper procedures, you're going to wind up with glare ice on the highway. And the other thing that we see, there's no incentive. So the wrong procedures can be used, and insurance costs can increase. There's no incentive. They said to the contractor, look, if you can bring the accident rate down now, zero accident rate, it will give you a $20,000 kickback on your insurance. But instead, we've got to go the other way. The only way to get their attention is to say, okay, for every accident we have where there's been a direct cause, well, you can't blame it all. You can't blame glare ice on drivers. That's a procedural thing that's not being done properly. So if there was an incentive to the contractor, or if in your area you have no accidents, we'll give you a good price on your insurance. But we start having accidents where it's proven that you're not using sand when you've got glare ice conditions, and you're pouring liquid deicers on the road and causing the problem, you're now responsible for putting that out. You're causing the decision. You're making the decision to put out liquid deicer, and you're not putting sand on to combat the slippiness on the road. So therefore, we're going to judge you as being liable. So if the condition is called at the time of the accident, glare ice condition, we're going to hold you 50% responsible for the cost of the accident. So if it was a $5 million accident, you're going to pay a bill for $2.5 million. Now we got some incentive. There's no incentive in our program to prevent accidents. And that incentive used to be there when we had proper supervision. So we're having a good day, and may the good Lord take a liking to you.